Get ready for Draper Radio.
Hey guys, it's Mr. Blaze.
Hey, good morning. This is Mr. Sawicki.
Hello,
And
everybody. Yeah, hi. It's Miss Niles back
All
again.
right.
It's been a little bit,
Been a little bit.
Yes.
but I'm back. I'm excited.
What time is this? 4?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Probably.
don't even know.
I know.
There's so many I can't even keep track of
Halloween.
them all. Halloween,
Christmas movies.
and then we did another
Oh.
one.
Wait, Christmas and Christmas trees.
Christmas trees.
Because
Christmas
why?
movies.
We
Christmas
needed
movies.
a science expert.
Yes,
Science.
Yep. We talked about,
I know.
keeping your tree preserved and whether
Yep.
or not
Bursting into flames.
plastic versus real trees.
Yes.
were
Doesn't that feel
was more
so far
beneficial.
removed now,
It
Christmas?
does.
It's going to be
I
like
mean-
90 degrees here today in New York.
Yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful.
It's like,
I mean,
what is this
we're,
Christmas thing?
Mhm.
we're on the precipice of summer.
Summertime, yes.
So
Full
close.
summer vibes.
Yeah, so far away.
I know.
Slushies,
Oh man,
That's
ice
a good
cream
topic,
truck.
yeah.
ice
You
cream.
know.
Yes.
truck. That was
I know.
another episode I was thinking would be a fun one. An ice cream
Summer
truck.
treats. Oh, I know.
Just
Or-
like nostalgic summer. Did you guys do
Yeah.
that one?
No,
I feel
we
like
just did
Uh,
a summer one with
Summer memories and
Mr.
smells.
Scotia.
Scotia,
Yeah.
top
Yeah.
smells.
Yeah.
Yeah, nostalgic would be cool, though. The
Nostalgic
slip and
summer.
slide.
yeah,
Going to the drive-in movies.
Super soaker squirt guns.
Yep.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, we got some good future.
I mean,
Some
I don't think
ideas
we're ever
going on
going to
there.
run out. See, that's what I
Nah.
like about our format is. On Spotify, you know, like how it gives recommendations. It
Mhm.
can't
Yeah.
give a recommendation
Just
from us
random.
because we're
All
so
over.
unique.
Random.
We're so niche, you know.
That's why we're worldwide.
That's
Yes. I think we still have listeners worldwide.
International, huh?
Yeah, India,
they bailed
Greece.
us.
Wow.
So thank you for all of our listeners worldwide.
I know. Still,
Appreciate it.
reach out to us. I want to know who you people are.
Yeah, comment, leave us a voice message. I mean, we need to translate. We will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make it work.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
all good.
Very neat. I think it's kind of ironic. I'll start by saying we're doing this podcast at 9:30 in the morning.
It is.
So that's
Yeah.
perfectly apt for a transition.
It's not a typical time, I think,
No.
for this recording.
No,
We're all a little bit
works.
sleepy. Yeah.
It
I
works.
know. I feel like I could use something. What's that substance that people drink sometimes for energy?
Well, there's we're going to talk
I
about
know. Well,
There's a lot,
multiple
right?
incarnations,
Lot-
yes.
a
We're
lot
gonna
of
talk about a
options.
number
Yes.
of things.
Like pick
Absolutely.
your poison sort of thing, you
Pick
know?
your poison. But today's caffeine. We're talking all things
Oh,
the magical caffeine.
uh,
I was gonna jump in. I was like soda. But I was like, wait, no, caffeine's in soda. It's in
Yeah.
coffee. It's in some teas.
It's in, yeah. So I actually do have a list of a number of caffeinated beverages with
okay.
the amount of caffeine
Wow.
that's in a typical serving.
I'll take the
Okay.
highest,
It'll be
please.
A little guessing game for us to figure out which might have
Yeah.
more or
Okay.
something
Oh, that's
that we
awesome.
might expect.
Because I did want to pick. I was going to ask yesterday. I was going to text you guys, but like Dunkin's iced coffee. Like
Yep.
I love it, but I was like, wait, is this a sugar? Is this like real caffeine?
We'll talk
All
about
right,
it.
cool,
We got some
cool.
info to share.
And we were
Dig
just
it.
talking, Mr. Swicky and I, off air this morning about a new technique of coffee that I've been kind of
Oh yeah,
jonesing
different
about.
different
Okay.
manners of it.
I mean, so even I think within
Sure.
one category,
Oh,
like
yeah.
let's say soda or coffee, there's options.
Yeah, so many
like-
ways to brew
Oh,
it
so
or
many
prepare it,
various
or
levels.
yeah,
French press.
yeah.
all the
Oh, I love
rage.
those French
Oh.
presses. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of getting into the. I don't want to say snobbish.
Okay.
Oh,
You know,
Bougie.
bougie. That's a good word.
Bougie
Definitely.
caffeine.
I will. I'm
consumer.
accepting. You know, it's like I'm accepting. If someone
You're a
offers me coffee,
connoisseur.
I'm not gonna be like,
fancy.
oh, dude, I'm not even gonna drink that.
No, I'm
No
not touching.
Folgers for
No,
you?
No, I mean,
Wait, this ain't
I
Dunkin'?
had Folgers,
Dunkin' or
you know,
nothing.
You know,
Folgers is good. I like
mhm.
Maxwell House is good.
Chock full of nuts,
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
like the nutty ones, but yeah, we'll talk about
right?
preferences.
You know, that a lot of. Oh my gosh,
Sure.
a lot of.
Yeah, maybe
So many
cool.
options.
Be cool to talk about brands and
Yep.
certain stores. Like, what's your preference? You know.
Absolutely. I have a number of different brands as well. that we
Okay.
can compare.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Very cool. Dig
Now, yeah. There's so many. Like, I can't wait to hear like
I know.
Mhm.
all the fun. So
Yes.
where do we even start?
Well,
Let's start with our own personal preferences.
Okay.
preferences,
So
cool.
yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
good. Yeah.
If we're a little sleepy,
It's our show after all. Jeez,
Yeah,
like
I know
Yeah.
we can just choose our own.
if you guys want to hear, you got to listen to us first.
no, you gotta respond to the polls.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a few. I
Got
polls.
some
We'll do some.
responses?
I didn't do any with kids this year.
Okay.
This
So
time.
we want to encourage, like,
You
here,
know.
kids, go try some caffeine. Like,
Um,
they're crazy enough as is. We don't need
Especially
percolation.
This time of
Yeah,
year.
seriously. Cabin fever is set in.
oh my gosh.
Senioritis.
Summer vacation right around the corner.
Yep. It's hot out. Can we go outside? Can we go outside?
But then we're so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instantly go outside.
They want to go outside because it's so hot, but it's hotter outside.
Right.
So
And then you're wearing a hoodie and sweatpants. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's 90 degrees out.
I know you guys.
Could you go back inside?
Yep.
Indecisiveness.
Oh, teenagedom.
Teenagers.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Yes, you pull up Paul. I guess I'll throw out the first question.
go
The
for it.
infamous battle,
Okay.
Dunkin' or Starbucks.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw in Stewart's, you could throw in all these other places that have coffee.
I know. Where do you
man.
stop?
But I think that is the
Important.
epic slugfest. It's like East Coast versus West Coast,
Yeah.
Biggie versus
It's-
Tupac back in the day.
It is. It really is. And
Yeah.
I think people are very strongly
Territorial, yeah. They are like,
This is it.
like I like both, but yeah, in my heart, I'm like,
Really?
Right.
But if money's no option, I'm like, I'm going to go,
Yeah.
Well, tell us which do you
I'll just say
prefer?
I go to Dunkin' a lot more because
Okay.
it's more prevalent in the Northeast.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But I think Starbucks is like a fantastic brew and flavor and more potent, maybe more caffeinated. I don't know if you have research about
I
that.
do. I have a comparison.
So I'm Team Green.
Okay.
I'm Team Starbucks.
Okay.
Team Starbucks.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe that's bougie or something. I don't
No.
know. Like, that's.
Well, I could see, like some people can associate, like Starbucks, like you can have a conversation about the type of person, like what
Yeah,
type of
the
person,
class,
if you were to
right.
profile a person.
Like, for example, you'll find Starbucks is in Target. So
Yes.
it's like the Target Walmart
And-
debate.
and,
like, I know, the
Market
grocery stores.
32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
convenient, right? I mean,
Sure.
they even at Target, they'll even bring it out to you, that Starbucks.
Really?
They'll bring it out to your
I
car.
didn't-
Fancy.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did.
So you could get your coffee and you could get your whatever at Target,
Uh-huh.
you want to get shopping wise, coffee, good to go. Go home.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay.
Amazing.
So
What a
you
world
work
we live
around
in. I know.
your schedule, not
Yes.
around theirs.
World of conveniences.
It is. I know. That's the silver
the
lining of the pandemic.
The
I think.
apps.
The
Yeah.
apps.
You
guys
got to get
use
out of your
the
car.
App
Oh, yeah.
Store?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Swicky turned
Yeah.
me on to
Yeah, I
the
use the
Dunkin'
apps.
app, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You
one
get
that
perks and stuff.
capitalizes
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on that. Like Cumberland Farm, same
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Totally.
oh, you got a free energy drink? I will take one. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yes.
Sure.
I'm going to be a reason that, like they're going to be hurting because I'm capitalizing on all
Yes.
those freebies.
Take advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
real.
what it's there for. But,
You know what I like about the apps too, and I use both the Dunkin' and the Starbucks app,
Mm-hmm.
but as educators, every once in a while we'll get gifted something. Very often
Wait,
it's a gift
what?
card.
You get gifted?
Every once in a while.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
once in a
What?
while. And I
Yeah,
just
true.
load them onto the app,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and I don't have to worry about keeping track of 5,000 tiny little $5
Pieces of
gift
plastic,
cards.
right.
It's
it's
great.
just so hard. You go like,
Yeah.
this one? No, there's
Yeah.
nothing.
Oh,
This
yeah.
one?
This one has
Yeah.
14 cents on it. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Can you put
How about
that
this
on?
one?
Because I'm 14 cents short
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And you know what the best part is too? I'll forget
Yeah.
about the
Oh,
fact
no.
that I have all the gift cards loaded onto the app. So I recently got a gift card from a student. Thank you, Ella, whose mother does work here in the building.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was for Teacher Appreciation Week, which
Oh,
was
cool,
so
cool.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
And I went to go load it onto my app. I already had $50 on there.
Whoa.
I didn't
Wow.
even know.
Oh my
You're drinking
God.
free coffee
I
for
didn't
like a
even
week
know.
for that.
But that'll
Cool.
give you a
Be
clue
balling
as to
at
which
Starbucks.
I choose. And
Ah.
I typically go to Starbucks. So I had
Starbucks,
a lot of
yes.
money on my Dunkin' app.
You got the
but
stars
I do.
versus
Okay.
whatever Dunkin' uses. Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
mainly because of some of the options
Perks, I think.
that actually we'll talk about, because
Okay.
sugar-free is important to me, and having
Sure,
sugar-free options.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
I like the sugar-free options at Starbucks more so than at Dunkin'.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so I tend
Perfect.
to go with a vanilla latte from
Yes.
Starbucks
Alright.
because they have
Okay.
a sugar-free vanilla.
Sounds good.
syrup.
Delicious. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
We're going
I'm
full.
I'm right down the middle. I mean, it depends. It's a convenience thing
Yeah.
for me. If there's one
Mhm.
nearby, I'll choose it.
But what if they're like right next to each other?
If they're right, and it depends on my craving. You
Okay.
know, like
Okay,
what I
you're
want.
Moody caffeine.
Yeah.
Like okay, it's such a long name for a drink. The brown sugar
Yep.
shaken
Yep.
oat milk
Yep.
iced espresso.
Yep,
Is it?
it's delicious. I've had it.
Shaken.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Not stirred.
Because when my daughter, when we go to Starbucks, sometimes I don't even know how to say what she just told
Right.
me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Hun, could you translate that
I know,
to the
right?
guy?" On the-
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just speak into the microphone for me, please.
Yes.
Haven't you seen that before when people will like voice record their orders
Yeah,
for their
you just play
friend
it
or
back,
spouse
yeah.
or whoever, and then when they
Oh.
go up to the window to order it, they just
Yeah.
play.
I know.
Oh,
Because you don't want to mess it up. Like, there's nothing worse than like
yeah.
trusting somebody to get my coffee run. It's like,
know.
oh wait, it's missing.
Did
And
you
then you
know?
can tell it's wrong when you
Yeah,
look at the
like,
color
oh,
of
is
the
this,
order. It's like,
yeah.
this is too
Wait, you
too
forgot the
dark.
cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So Yeah, I mean, I'm I like certain aspects of like Starbucks drinks. I like some of their ice, like their cold brew is better. I like than Dunkin'. I don't mind Dunkin'. I like Dunkin' when I go there. I'll get like their midnight, but it's really you have to like when you make your own coffee at home, right? Have you ever like if you've made a significant other's coffee, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a point where I was making my wife's, and then she couldn't make her own.
She liked yours better?
She liked mine.
Yeah.
Now we've gotten away from that because we're doing a different technique, which I'll talk about later. But, so when you go to the store, if you just say, I'll do an iced coffee, cream and sugar, that's opening up a can of worms right there.
True.
Because
how much of each?
I mean, what's the stand? Do you know the
how much
standard?
ice?
I always thought they should have like being an art teacher, like a color code. They're like, I'll take a brown 3. I'll take a khaki brown, please.
That's actually a great idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but my wife, Beck, she's got me going with, she's like, just tell them like, oh, it's 2 pumps of this.
Yeah.
1 cream or
very
2
scientific,
creams.
right?
Yeah.
If you, otherwise back there, it's like you got to die and they're rolling it. Like, this guy gets this. And
looks
like,
good enough. Yeah.
Whoa, that looks like a milkshake. That's not what I ordered.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're not dancing around the fence though. You have to pick one. You always do this, man. Like
it's tough. Well, I've never been in it. Here's my struggle in life. Okay, it's a bigger question, a bigger thing than coffee. I've never been locked into clicks.
Right.
I've never,
that's why I like to razz you on a little bit.
Oh, I love it. No, that's
like we all like this. Good, blah blah blah.
I'll be honest. I'm the wishy washy. Like
Sith or Jedi.
The guy
Which one?
at a restaurant. Like you guys pick out what you want.
Yeah.
You go first. I don't want to go first.
Yeah, no, right.
I'm that guy. I don't want to go first guy.
Right.
So,
but right now you're last in line. We're all standing
right
waiting
now, based on
my
current situation, I would say, I'm Dunkin' right now.
Okay. Cool.
Is it like proximity? Like
Yep.
It's a lot closer for us at work.
It's a huge
convenience.
So 2 in the area.
If I'm out at home, I'll probably do like if I'm out about like. Most likely, I'll probably do like a Starbucks. I like I said, a lot of their iced beverages. So like summertime, like I switch. But right now, I'd say I use the Dunkin' app more. I don't really have a Starbucks app.
Right.
So based on that, I would say Dunkin'.
Okay.
But I tell you, my pour over at home
trumps everything.
Yeah.
Trumps, mic drops.
The Blaze Coffee House is number 1.
I'm just like...
Want to give out your address live on the air and people are going to swing? No. I live at...
Yeah.
Like knocking. Hey.
It's like...
There's coffee here.
It's become such a... as you get older, conversations amongst friends get different. We're at a birthday party and 3 adult guys talking about like... So, what's your coffee setup like?
Yeah.
My buddy's like, I got this pour over thing. You got to have this burr. Well, what burr grind do you use?
Yeah.
What's the granules looking like? We got to eat it.
Sure. I'm glad you talked about that. And you mentioned French press. Like I have acquired French press, coffee bean grinder. My wife had a Ninja coffee bar, which was awesome. Yeah.
Kids, someday you will understand.
I know. Yes. I love the kids too, right? That say I don't like coffee. Wait a few years.
Someday you will get it.
Because that was me. I hated coffee as a teenager.
Loved the smell.
You did.
The smell was great. Yes, I hated it as a kid.
What was your turning point? What was your...
I know the exact moment.
Me too.
So... Mr. Van Wee and me went to California on a trip.
Yeah.
So, of course, we had a wicked early flight and we were exhausted. We went to San Francisco Giants game. I was falling asleep at the baseball game. Ugh. Oh. And Mr. Van Wee was like, dude, you got to have a coffee. And I was like, no, I don't like coffee. So we bought one at Starbucks.
Okay.
And it was like liquid magic.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm awake.
Hey.
Yeah.
And I felt so upset with myself because it's the first day of this trip in California. It's the first time there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't enjoy it because I was so exhausted. So it was literally like the liquid of the gods being poured down, saying, here, you can be rejuvenated.
Yeah.
That was it. That was like
now,
20,
do you get that same
whatever.
feeling after you have a cup of coffee?
Well, I'm hoping you'll educate us on the withdrawal kind of things. Because
you why.
Hi,
the
folks.
Is no.
This is cup 4 of the day, and I'm still I'm so tired.
Well, I think that's why we chose this time of year, because
for real, the burnout.
This is, I think I'm consuming 50-50 coffee to water ratio in a day,
Yeah.
So that was yours.
Yep.
You're turning.
That was it.
Life. Mm-hmm. What about yours?
So I remember And I wasn't a coffee drinker until I was about 25.
Okay.
And it was grad school for
Yeah.
me, learning to become a teacher.
Sure.
And it was at my student teaching assignment, which was a middle school called O'Rourke Middle School in Burnt Hills, Boston Lake.
Oh, yep.
And I taught 7th grade there, and they had a break room with a Keurig machine.
Nice.
And I didn't drink coffee, but I knew I needed a little something.
Yep.
Like, getting into the routine of, teaching all day long and then having to go to classes at night. It was just a really long day.
Sure.
And it was just there. And so one of the teachers there told me to try putting half of a hot chocolate in with half of a coffee.
Yep.
And that was just like a game changer for me because I didn't like the taste of coffee. But then when I I eased myself into it
Right.
by doing that half hot chocolate, half coffee mixture, all of a sudden I was hooked.
Yep.
So
I was into it.
Opens the entire door to all the flavor combos and sugars.
Yeah.
Flavorings.
It ended up just being a treat. Like it turned into like my sweet treat, but also my energy boost for the day. So it ended up being something I looked forward to.
Balance, right? Because it has to have be palatable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
For some,
like, do any guys like black coffee?
I used to drink black coffee, but
I can't stand it.
It was mostly out of necessity. It wasn't because I liked it.
Right.
Jet fuel, just like pouring the jet fuel in.
And I tell you, when you have getting into this whole coffee thing. Okay, before I even get there, my turning point. Was Stewart's coffee ice cream. It taught me that coffee could taste good.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the sweet treat, right? I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I was at a diner with my friends one time. And I had, I think everyone's done this, like in your early days of late at night, we're at a diner. I'm just hanging out with friends, I'm like, I just keep drinking. I had 5-6 cups of coffee at diner. But they just constantly, you need
I know. Top you off. Top you off. Yeah.
Pour it in there. Fill me up.
It's usually a week anyways.
Excuse me, Flo, could I get some more? But that was it. We were up. Gosh, I was up till
wired.
I don't even know 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and whatever. But yeah.
But you just alluded that coffee is a great conversational, social event as well.
It is.
Absolutely.
Coffee houses, coffee time. Yeah. Right.
It's fantastic.
The vibe of a coffee house.
Oh, so chill.
It's so ironic though because it's so chill and relaxing, yet you're caffeinating yourself.
I know, right?
There.
There's people feverishly working on their laptops, going nuts.
Right. You go to Uncommon Ground in Saratoga or any Uncommon Ground, and you see all that. The Apple.
I know.
They all have Apple.
I love it. Or go with a book and just sit in a nice
absolutely.
poofy armchair.
Yeah.
There's a whole culture behind it too. And
there is.
Aesthetic vibe. Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, that's a good one. I would never guess ice cream. That's a good transition.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, that'll be forever my
how about caffeine in general? So I remember drinking soda as a kid. And I don't think I ever felt the natural caffeine because as a kid, you're so energized anyways.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, there isn't a ton of caffeine in soda.
Yeah, sure.
My favorite, and I can tell you, my favorite soda as a kid, which I can't drink anymore because it's super sugary.
Yeah, right.
But it was Mountain Dew.
Oh, yeah. Tons of sugar in that. Yeah, right.
And
couple grams.
I used to
just
think
a few,
of it
one
as
or two.
being my caffeine boost.
Oh, okay.
Even in high school and even in college.
But is that psychological, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, so a standard cup of coffee will have about 95 milligrams of caffeine in it. Whereas a standard 12-ounce soda only has about 40 or 50.
Oh, okay. So about half.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That would make sense when I have a soda and it doesn't really do what I hope.
Perk you up.
I would need twice.
And it might be more sugar than anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Mountain
more
Dew
of a sugar
Diet
rush.
Regular has approximately 54 milligrams of caffeine in it.
Okay.
And then if you go to a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola, it's even less. It's 35 to 38.
So Mountain Dew.
Interesting.
See, soda, the only time I ever felt like a soda kick, Mountain Dew, not much, like I said, because I was always wired. You give me
that's what I'm saying. I couldn't tell if it was just natural childhood energy.
Yeah. It was a soda and it was called Jolt.
Mm-hmm. In the 90s, Jolt and Surge were the big controversial one. Yeah.
Surge is another one. That was a green.
Yeah.
68 milligrams.
That was controversial. Every parent was like, don't let your kids drink Surge because it's pure caffeine. But you're still saying it's still less than a cup of coffee.
Still less than a cup of coffee, yeah.
Okay.
Than a standard cup of coffee.
Let's go back in time and old yell at their mothers like, "No, Surge is fine."
I don't have Jolt on my list, but
I do
would have
remember
to assume
Jolt,
I
yeah.
do remember it existing. Wasn't it cola flavored? Was it cola flavored?
Jolt was cola flavored.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I score a goal because I was like, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I love to run fast. That was my thing. And then I played soccer. I loved it. And I had a little jolt. My coach was like, hey Steve, do you want more? You want to score another goal? I'm like, yeah. And there was, I think, kind of like my first addiction to something like that's sweet, But you're just metabolism is like
through the roof,
3,000%. When you're that age,
right?
Boundless energy.
I know. Do you remember that feeling? Let's go running outside and just running in the yard, like you like burst through the front door, like I'm just gonna run. Yeah. I'm not running anywhere.
We look at our students and we see them do that.
Yeah, seriously.
And I look at them with two emotions. One is annoyance,
right?
If we're inside,
sure.
Trying to teach.
You're containing that energy.
The other is envy.
I know.
Like, where did
that's
that
how I
energy
feel for
come
real.
From?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting on the edge of the bed for like 18 minutes in the morning. I'm like, you can't fall. Are you going to fall asleep sitting up? Like,
body ache so
you have to get up.
All
you have to get going.
Sleep.
And you like to sleep when you know exactly how many minutes your snooze is.
Yeah. And your body is naturally attuned to like 5:59. I'm up. My alarm's about to go off.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that amazing? Your brain will hijack your body and say, like, this is how valuable sleep is. I don't want it disturbed. So.
Right. Yeah. Like one day, like the other day, I hit my I'm a 5:40. Unless I'm working out, I'll get up earlier. But and I thought I hit snooze, but I hit stop.
Oh.
And then at 5:59,
right.
Normally it would have been like. I think it's 9 minutes.
Sure.
I hit my snooze a couple times.
Yep.
Usually I'm pretty good.
9 minutes.
But I was just like this past few weeks, hence our caffeinated episode here.
Right.
I'll be honest, I'll be hitting that snooze and I hit stop. I mean, the snooze bar is like kind of like the orange on my screen here.
Right.
And then the stop one's actually harder to hit.
Yeah, smaller.
It's a tiny, I think that's done intentionally.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But it's, it was like, 5:59. I'm like, so I felt like I did actually fall asleep. It's 9 minutes. Usually I'm just kind of like, I should just get up anyway. Just come on.
So quick side question too. So you're a snooze guy. Snooze?
Oh, 100%.
I am not snooze.
Usually 2 or 3 times.
I refuse to use it because I'm like,
it's not a good thing.
I see the rabbit hole.
Thing.
I'm like, wow, this is so tempting. Being tempted by the dark side, the Star Wars episode last time.
That's why
I know.
I wore my hair like this because I didn't have time to wash
snooze. You're like,
snooze.
Yeah.
At least 3 times this morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nah, see, too tempting. Because yes, I would be like, oh wait, it's 9:47. Oh crap! It's snooze 87
usually,
times.
With the exception of these couple weeks, I'm not. Like my wife and I talk about that. She's like, I wanted to get up and work out early. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like
snooze.
I just get up if I have it in my head. And sometimes my body, like brain was hijacking my sleep schedule, and I was like, 5 o'clock. Well. Shoot, might as well just get up and get working.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and just twiddle my thumbs when I can go down and work out. And then when I come home, I'm done, So I'm like, it was, and then maybe I'll have a coffee on the way home. It's a treat. I reward myself with a coffee.
See, I call my coffee sometimes if I get one on the way home. I call it, if I get a coffee on the way home, I call it my pre-workout.
Okay.
Because I get up so early. I commute an hour in every morning, and so sometimes it'd be a 4 o'clock workout for me if I do it in the morning.
Yeah,
and I have done it before, but it's
a game changer.
It's brutal.
It is because you'll tap out. I mean, you feel good, and then you kind of like tap out a little bit earlier.
But then I crash at night. Like I'm done by like 7 o'clock if I do a morning workout. Like I'm not. I can't function anymore. Even with a coffee, I can't function anymore.
Right. I know. I feel the same thing. It's just like I was talking to someone like, does it feel like caffeine's not doing what it should be doing?
Yeah.
So we can talk. There's some science behind
because I don't know if it was age too, like just getting older. Like
I'd love to get into a little bit of the science behind it.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe we can crack the code.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So we can talk a little bit about that because that was a good segue. And
cool.
So caffeine is a chemical. And it's a chemical that it causes the endorphins in our body to respond. And as we're probably all familiar with the term endorphin, it's another chemical that our body produces that makes us feel happiness. It's a reward chemical. It makes us feel good.
Yes.
And we like it. And so there's lots of things that can stimulate the production of endorphins in your body. It could be doing a favorite activity. It could be eating your favorite food. It could be laughing. There's so many things that can stimulate the production of that. Caffeine is one of those things.
Okay.
Caffeine also is very chemically similar to a chemical called adenosine.
Oh, I don't know that one.
And adenosine is a chemical that actually causes us to feel sleepy or tired.
Oh.
And so what caffeine does is it has the ability to bond to receptors in our cells that are meant for adenosine. So when your body starts to move into a phase in the day when you should be going to sleep or you should be entering into that stage of your day.
Yep.
Adenosine will bond to receptors in your cells to tell your cells, okay, it's time to start producing all of the necessary sleep chemicals to start trying to wind down for the day and go to sleep. Well, caffeine is sneaky, and it is so similar in structure to adenosine that it will bond to the adenosine receptors, preventing them from allowing you to feel sleepy.
Exactly at the baseball game.
Yes. Tricking your brain. I know.
Spoofed.
Exactly. So what happens
Starbucks tricked
is
me.
as we develop a habit and as we consume more and more caffeine, our cells get wise to this and they produce more adenosine receptors.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why it requires more caffeine for you to get the same
to
result.
dose yourself.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Because now your body is equipped with more receptors, so you need more caffeine to block them, to block the adenosine from doing that.
Now, will that naturally undo itself? So let's say you go cold turkey on caffeine.
That's an excellent question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Interesting.
I would have to think hypothetically,
right?
Yes.
Sure.
Because
or once the cells learn, is it programmed that way and it changes coding or something? Yeah.
Replacing ourselves with new cells.
Exactly.
Right, on a daily,
So the new guy don't know. So okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would have to think that as with any substance that might trigger a response like that,
right,
you can reset your body.
Walk it back.
Right. Yeah. Like I think of like smoking and lungs, like if like you stop, depending on how long you've been going for, your lungs start healing and start rebuilding once you cold turkey.
Sure.
And that's a pretty phenomenal feat there. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't not like a fix all, but I think so that's
why the human body's fascinating, because some things will regenerate, but then your fluoride or teeth, your dentine won't come back. Brain cells won't come back, but skin cells will, and others will. And that's good.
Yeah.
Science.
I
know.
It's always changing. We're learning more and more.
We were talking about the atomic bomb in class the other day, and I'm like, look, kids,
that's a heavy subject.
Science is basically magic to me. So, but here it is. That's what happened.
I love, and I think it is. It is. Well, it helps you, I think, understand like the world better. Like, why does this happen?
But I really respect scientists, because you have to be smart to say, okay,
detail oriented, and
once you get to the microscopic level too, I'm I can't even see it.
So much.
How do people figure these things out?
It's theoretical, so you
have to
trust the concept with evidence
and test it,
that proves the concept without necessarily being able to directly observe it yourself. So that can be tricky for a lot of people.
I'm still going to go with magic. Holding on to magic.
Well, I mean, as a social studies person, that's how a lot of, humanity explained away natural phenomena.
That's why I would love to time travel back in time with science and just be like a wizard.
And be able to do all these cool things that you know are scientifically based, and the reason why they're happening, but not everybody else around you does.
Yeah, when Max put the lighter up, he makes fire from his hands.
Focus.
So we'll tie all the episodes together. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, very fascinating.
Yeah,
it is.
So more coffee. That's what I got out of that whole speech.
You have you have to compensate, right? If 2 cups was your norm, and now your body's used to that, so now it might take 3, and then so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, and I think we've all observed it firsthand. There's certain times you just don't drink coffee and you go back to it and it's like, all right, 1 cup makes me feel great. Yeah. But right now, I'm seriously, I'm like 4 cups today. I'm still like languishing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's also because we're at this point in the school year too. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to reduce my caffeine intake quite a bit in the summer because I don't have the same schedule in the summer.
Right. And you can sleep in a little bit more too. So, yeah.
Right. I agree.
So I don't always drink as much coffee, but you can switch to decaf coffee, which still has caffeine. It's just it still has caffeine.
Oh, see, that's
why it's not called non-caffeine. It's called decaf.
Right. I've seen half calf too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I never thought of that
There's
before.
half calf too.
Half calf.
But you can still have that routine of having your morning coffee, but then you're kind of allowing your body to reset a little bit by having less.
So that you'll be juiced come September when you have 1 cup again.
Then you get the Death Wish coffee.
I know, seriously. Yeah, I wanted to inquire about Death Wish too.
I've got that information.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And it's a local Saratoga company, so I got to plug them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot they were.
Very cool.
It's not cheap.
Not cheap,
for sure,
but it's so worth it.
But it is very.
It's like buying high octane gas for your car. Your car is just faster.
Well, it's like cold brew because you don't. I don't think, as far as I know, I've only had it like once. I had a guy at my church who's like swears by it. Right. That you don't need. You can kind of dilute as needed.
Something
so you're not
brewing,
like. Right. You wouldn't kind of make it like a traditional pot, as far as I know. Like, I don't know if I've made a pot. I'm trying to remember the first time I had it. It was a bag or a pot. We got a deal on it, but I'm curious to know about the levels there.
Got a little bit of that.
She got science ready. Yes.
Yes.
Let's dive into that because I was telling Mr. Blaze outside I prefer cold brew because I heard it's less acidic, so therefore it leads less to like heartburn.
Yep.
Yes.
And even dark roasts, they say, have some kind of science where it makes you have less heartburn and digestion.
Yep.
And again, old. So that's the things that are important to me now. So
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that either, but I wonder if it just has to do with the temperature aspect.
The cold brew, like, because a couple things that kind of, when you make coffee, like if you use a traditional blade grinder, it actually will kind of heat up and start to cook the beans a little bit.
Roast it a little bit.
Prematurely before you've even gotten to the brewing process.
Interesting.
Versus like a burr grinder, which is kind of like gears in a clock, I guess in a clock or in an engine, where it gets that even consistently. With a blade grinder, you're getting a little bit of extra heat, pre-cooking, and inconsistency inside. See, this is my bougie talk.
So much science today.
And
friction,
but then,
hey, you invited me.
Particle size. We joke every episode, like we'll have a science question. Mr. Blaze will look at each other. And be like, I don't know, science person?
We start guessing.
But science person's here today. So, so thank you, Miss Niles.
Yes, but I love cold brew, and actually I use the same technique that that Starbucks uses. They use this called the toddy system, and their toddy is like
is this like Cafe Blaze? We're now getting into the
a little bit of the cold brew. Actually, a friend of mine that hooked me up with a photography gig for another friend. I gave her. A cold brew system. Like, she loves coffee, and I was like, "Thank you so much for hooking me up with this gig. I'm gonna send you this." But I was talking to her about it. But it's basically like, cold brew it's a slower process. Like regular coffee, like pour over, Keurig. Anywhere between 5 to 20 minutes, you'll have a coffee, right? But with a cold brew, minimal of 8 hours of soaking. So you mentioned
seeping,
French press, and you're going to grind the beans like coarse. And then you have a carafe, right? And then you pour the beans in, ground, like coarsely, and you have a filter that sits inside of this plastic carafe. You got to plug the bottom up, put another filter, so it's like double filtered because it's coarse ground. And then you do it's kind of like you're making a cake. You have the grounds, water, but when you put it in, you swirl it in. You do that, repeat that process for as much as you want, and you leave it for 8. I've done it for as much as 20 hours.
Wow.
Cool. And depending on your coffee, you can get like whatever flavor you want, and then you just pop a little bit out, dilute it.
Cool.
That I can drink iced coffee. I can drink black easier than hot with cold brew.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Sure.
what it is. It's just easier. I don't know. I could easily drink that colder. Cool. But the cold brew it tends to be a little sweeter sometimes, depending on the beans too. But it is definitely less acidic because I have reflux.
Right.
I'll make up cold brew in the summer because I have time, and I'll just again today I don't need as much, so maybe I'm going to intentionally try to do that this summer, though.
Awesome.
But that's my cold brew process. Highly encourage it.
Interesting.
Now that we learned how to make it,
yes.
What do we got for science? Is it more potent? I guess is my question.
I think it depends on your source. It depends, and it probably also depends on the method. But so I have some cold brew options here, and I'll go through that and I'll explain a little bit, and then I'll compare it to some of the warm hot brew. Hot brew.
Yeah, I know.
Regular hot brew. Traditional
hot coffee.
Hot coffee. Yeah.
And we also have to take into account serving sizes, and we have to get a math person next time.
Oh,
true.
I know.
Conversions.
You need an official panel.
Yeah, I know. I ran into some kilograms. This one place consumed pounds of. I'm like, how does that convert to a cup?
Oh.
Yeah, right.
We do conversions in science quite often, but sometimes the math can be too much for my almost June teacher brain.
Yes.
Oh, seriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start with some cold brew, and we're talking 8 ounce, which is one of the smallest serving sizes that they have here on this list.
Standard coffee mug. Yeah.
Yeah, standard coffee mug, I'd say. So this is Death Wish. Death Wish is cold brew.
If they could sponsor us too, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
We're still in our first.
We'll take as many samples, Death Wish, as you are willing to share
for real.
with us. We'll
One of my cousins works for them, so maybe I'll try to make
some connections. Throw a good word in.
Awesome stuff. So first of all, let me take a step back. So there is a cutoff point that you should try to reach as a coffee consumer, and that is approximately So Mr. Sawicki,
don't tell me to stop.
Like Veruca's out from
I want it now.
Okay, so maybe we should have cut you off after cup 3. Maybe.
I know.
Cup 6 as
that's what I truly feel like. I feel like the jet is running out of fuel, and I'm starting to dump more fuel in.
So there is a point though where you're
I'm sure
taking the seats out of the plane.
Right.
And that's when you get jittery, and that's when things kind of go a little haywire. But it's
fine.
It's 400 milligrams.
400 milligrams.
400 milligrams a day,
which equates to how many cups? 90 per cup.
4.
Okay.
So approximately, it's about 95 milligrams.
This is cup 4.
And we're talking medium roast, warm brew, hot traditional coffee.
Right. Nothing.
Nothing added. No extra shot of espresso.
Yeah.
So a regular cup
standard
of coffee-ish is about 95 milligrams of caffeine, and you want to try to cut yourself off at 400.
Okay.
Now,
I'm okay then.
8 ounces of Death Wish unsweetened cold brew, 300 milligrams.
I love that company. Death Wish coffee. You are a grace given to humankind.
Mm-hmm.
I
will make a T-shirt. Draper Radio Death Wish team up and give it to them. Yes.
So in theory,
it's
you
magical.
Can have your 1 cup of your cold.
Or 4.
That's when it's going downhill.
That's true. All right, listen to the science, kids.
That's where cold brew can become very dangerous because, if you do not dilute it, when I make that batch, what I'm talking about, that is a concentrate.
Right.
Yeah, true. Right.
So it's meant to be iced, and the icing dilutes it, so like when you get a soda, how much actual soda is in the cup, my friend would always say, I always ask for no ice so I get more soda. So people could do the same with, I'll get nice coffee, no ice, and then they'll fill the whole cup. Because, they have lines on the cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Displacement in science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These things. Yes.
Yeah. Cold brew, you definitely need a fair amount of ice.
Gotcha.
And sometimes even water, too.
Okay.
That's 300.
Yeah.
That's
so cold brew sounds more potent.
It is more potent.
Okay.
So now we're going to shift to Starbucks versus Dunkin'.
Oh, okay.
Warm brew.
Warm brew. So your standard.
And we're talking about their largest size.
Okay.
I'm referring to the venti for Starbucks.
I just always say large. I'm like,
that's a whole other conversation.
So in culture, I'm like, give me that one.
AKA
venti
large.
20.
Yep.
Venti, strength is 30.
That's the 20 ounce. That's
20 ounce.
I don't speak Latin, so I'm like, just give me the big one.
And there's different roasts that you can get at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about 2. We've got the Pike Place roast.
Yep.
Okay. I've had that. Yep.
And then the blonde roast.
Yep.
The Pike is my standard.
Yeah, it's good.
The large venti Pike Place roast is 410
milligrams
of caffeine
for 1 cup.
for
Whoa.
one venti.
One venti, so
And I'm
4
assuming
times what you
black.
should be having.
You don't have any additional,
So that's 20
sugar
ounces.
or
Jeepers.
cream or
Yep.
anything.
But so that's 20 ounces versus the
So the Grande
Death Wish was
only 8 for
Yeah.
300.
so
Right.
nearly a third of it,
Yeah.
and just about as much.
Sure.
I don't have a venti. I could do the mathing, but I'm not a math person.
Math
But
person?
the
No, we'll get
math
them next
person?
time.
Cute crickets.
Yeah.
Yep, crickets.
We'll get them on. Don't worry.
The
Yeah,
blonde
King.
roast Grande, which is 16 ounces, is 360 milligrams of caffeine.
So less coffee, less
coffee, less
less
caffeine.
milligrams,
But I
okay.
would say probably comparable.
It's respectable, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like some people always think like
Yeah.
when it's a darker, like it's a lot significantly more, and
Sure.
it's showing it's not.
Yeah, not terribly.
Not there.
Okay.
And again, this is just the Starbucks
Yeah.
information. It could,
Sure.
change
It could
based
change.
on
Yeah.
I know.
other beans or bean origin. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Consider all these
Yeah.
variables.
Oh yeah, I'll
Oh,
tell you that. I'll
there's-
tell you
So many.
the historical tale of where coffee
Okay.
might have originated at some point. Yes.
And then to
Excellent.
compare to our Dunkin' coffee, we'll go back to the 20 ounce. One 20 ounce, just Dunkin' coffee
Just like a standard.
is 270.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, so scientifically, that makes sense why I prefer Starbucks.
Right.
I feel like it perks me up
So,
more because it's got more.
You're getting more
caffeine
bang for your buck with
Exactly.
the amount of
In terms of caffeine,
Mhm.
yes.
But
Gotcha.
you could have more cups of Dunkin'.
Correct.
Well, so in
to
theory,
reach
Before
that
hitting that
sweet
okay.
spot.
So the
right.
big debate. Okay, there's two debates with the Dunkin' versus Starbucks, right? All right. Little technical glitch here.
We're
Yeah.
back.
Oh, we're
Lots
back?
of- Better than
We
ever.
are back, and
I went on and got a full cup of Death Wish.
Oh,
no
man.
wish.
Oh.
Mr. Sawicki.
I'd be like-
Number 7.
Like raging, like, "Woo!" or crashing apparently.
This
Signs,
episode is
yes.
now powered by Mr. Sawicki.
Yes, I know. Just plug me into machinery, like.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
So let
Yes.
me ask you this, you guys, because I don't remember what we were talking about before. So
We were right on like that Dunkin' was less caffeine than Starbucks.
And it was
Right.
perhaps maybe people like the taste better because
Sure.
it's not as dark of a
Exactly.
brew.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this: tea.
I don't like tea.
Tea. Do you think of it? And I'm talking tea with caffeine in it.
like
Do you
like
think
Earl
of it-
Grey,
Yeah,
like
or a
the
black tea
black
of some
tea.
kind. Do you think of it as being more, less caffeinated than a coffee?
I'd
I
say-
mean, and I always assumed like next to nothing, way less. But then the way you pose that question makes me think it's going to be a trick or something.
I would say less, but I don't know by how much. I
Yeah.
mean, if I was in an 8-ounce cup, maybe 150 milligrams of caffeine.
150.
Okay.
I'll say. Death Wish was what 400. Yeah, I'll say like 200. Be like half.
Like the Price is Right.
Yeah, I
$1.
know. Yeah.
1 milligram.
So again, it depends on what
Sure.
kind of tea you're dealing with.
Right.
If we're talking 8-ounce, it's about half of what you're
Okay.
guessing.
Oh,
So
okay.
8-ounce
okay.
tea
Less.
is about 75 to 80 milligrams of caffeine.
All right.
And then, you get into iced tea.
Yep.
A 16-ounce iced tea is about double that. So it's about
Okay.
75 to 80
Okay.
milligrams of caffeine.
Interesting.
So it's nice to know, though, that if, you want a little bit of caffeine boost,
Yeah.
and you don't necessarily want to go the coffee route.
Right.
Sometimes
Maybe
I
you don't
find
like
that-
coffee. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that tea is sometimes more refreshing. Like if I'm
Yeah.
having a meal and I want a beverage with my meal, but I want a
Yeah.
little caffeine, and I don't
Sure.
want a soda that's carbonated, I might go for an iced tea.
Iced
Right.
Because it allows
Oh,
things
yes.
to,
Yeah, definitely.
kind of go
About
down
the
easier.
carbonation.
Do
to
you,
it.
first time I got interested in enjoying that was I think my mom at first, she would have like the glass milk container, it was
Yeah,
cleaned
yeah.
out, reused,
Yeah.
and the sun tea, we
We do
call
that
it.
too. Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic with lemon, and that again, tea like that or hot tea, I can drink that easily black,
Yeah.
or
I
like
can too.
no cream. I mean, maybe a little lemon, a little sugar, or something here and there, but easier. I don't know.
So I've been into a vanilla chai tea
Yep.
with a little, like 1 pump of sugar-free caramel syrup,
Okay.
and then just a topping of skim milk.
Yeah.
And it is delicious.
It's just
It's
enough
so-
cream.
Yeah. It's so good. It's like, again, it's like a sweet treat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of caffeine to it, not a
Okay.
ton.
Little kick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a ton.
I'm not into tea at all, really. I've tried. I like it for the soothing aspect, you know.
So you an iced tea guy or no?
See, here's my question. I will drink like the Brisk or the Lipton, but is that like more sugar than like less actual real iced tea? Or
so
is
I think, and that's something we can talk about too with regard to health benefits,
right?
Because one of the questions that I know that we had discussed was, which is better for you,
right? Sure.
Energy drinks or coffee.
Right. I think energy drinks are like poison, so I imagine that's what's...
a lot of it comes down to the sugar that you add to
or the chemicals they put in,
Sure. Right,
and
things you can't pronounce.
Right.
Yeah, and so if you're someone that adds a ton of sugar to either your coffee or your tea, it's probably still going to be a little bit better for you than an energy drink, but it's the additional sugar consumption is going to make it an unhealthy addition to your diet.
Yeah, right.
But if we're talking like a Lipton black tea, or you can get the unsweetened version, and then you can add, how like a sparing amount of sugar. That's obviously going to be a lot better for you than like an energy drink, but that's about 55 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay.
The Lipton.
Okay. Like I always went to middle school. It was always like the can of like Brisk lemon iced tea
or
Snapple lemon
Arizona iced tea. That's a classic in the can.
The Arnold Palmers nowadays.
I used to when I lifeguarded.
Sugary though.
Yeah, right. So that's why I didn't know if that really qualifies.
Yeah. Stewart's, we'd get like the half and half at Stewart's.
Stewart's ones are super sugary.
Refreshers are delicious, but that's because of the sugar.
I know. It tastes like you're drinking liquid sugar.
Even their like cold brew, or I think they do I'm trying to think if they do a cold brew there. Does have like if you bought like they sell like in a container now, and it does have sugar in it. It's not like I make it at home and it's just coffee, like 0 calories, 0 sugar. I add what I want.
Black version of if you're going to get a cold brew at a store, they do make it black, and that's the kind that you have to get if you want to be healthy.
Before they add all your junk in,
to add your own stuff to it, so you know how much you're adding.
Right.
Sure. That was a good transition for our young listeners because I think like our culture today, kids are so amped on like energy drinks. Like I don't even know like Prime is still the popular one.
I've got information about Prime.
Like I don't really know what I thought it was like at first like an energy, like a sporty thing, but it's probably all in this realm of like.
And I'm not sure. There might be a difference between Prime Energy and just a regular Prime. I'm not sure about that because I'm not an energy drink.
No, I don't. I've had Prime. But I haven't had a Prime energy drink.
Okay.
All I can speak to at my own, like I used to drink Monsters in college occasionally.
Yeah.
But then you get hip to things like taurine.
Yeah.
These chemicals they put in it where you're hearing that messes with your heart and your brain and your nervous system. So I am very fervently anti-energy drink. Red Bull and all that.
Quickly about like the health benefits of coffee, and then kind of shift into talking about how energy drinks play into that.
Okay. I want to feel good about my coffee right now.
Coffee's been around for a lot longer.
Yes.
So that's one of the benefits.
Since the 9th century, as we'll hear a little tale. Yes.
So we know a lot more about coffee. Simply because it's been
a longitudinal study.
Yeah, we've been able to study it for
science.
longer. We have more evidence as to what it can do and what it can't do. And so that's one of that's part of the edge that coffee has over energy drinks, just simply because we know more about it. But there is evidence to suggest that drinking coffee can help you live longer. It can actually fight diseases like cardiac disease.
Yeah, I've heard Alzheimer's.
Less likely to develop Parkinson's disease and Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
It also allows you to be less likely to develop type 2 diabetes if you're drinking. And again, without the additional sugar.
Yeah, right. And moderation.
Right, if you're talking just coffee.
Don't run out to, Dunkin' and get the XXX caramel mocha latte with whipped cream.
Right, or Beastie Boys. I like my coffee with sugar and cream.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
This is an interesting one. So your DNA will be stronger if you drink coffee. So dark roast coffee decreases breakage in DNA strands.
Cool.
And this can actually allow you to be less likely to develop cancer.
Interesting,
right?
Drink up.
Yeah. Yes. Cheers on my coffee.
An additional impact is you'll be less likely to develop colon cancer, and you'll be less likely to suffer a stroke if you're a coffee drinker. But again, you have to make sure that you're being healthy about your coffee drinking. So no added sugars, or sparingly adding your sugar.
Right.
And then keeping that caffeine intake to below that 400.
400.
Right.
One cup of Death Wish.
And you don't realize it. Like I got a free energy drink at Cumbies, and I looked. I was like, oh, I'll get this one. Let me try this one. 300 milligrams.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
Yep.
nope.
And then all that other stuff, like that to me was the scary part. When I can't pronounce chemicals, I'm like, what am I putting into my body? This is insanity.
And then some of the like supplements that are added to energy drinks that are supposed to be beneficial to us, we just don't know enough about their impact to know if they're actually adding that benefit to our bodies.
Yeah, it's tough, and I would try to tell kids, like, I mean, from a personal experience, like the stress on the heart too. Yeah. Like if I went and go like average heart rate 40, like 40, 50, whatever, and then you add your energy drink, now what's your heart rate?
Right.
Now you go exercise.
Yeah.
Now you tax it even more. Sure. So if your heart rate is functioning a lot higher, like on an average run, it should be 150, 160, and it's at not 190. Yeah. I mean, you're like flooring your car, your engine, your heart is going to wear down. And I think that's what I try to stress, I'm guilty. I'll have one once in a while, but in a dire situation, if I'm driving where I need to keep awake or something like that, but nothing trumps sleep in that instance. So get good sleep first.
Right.
So we can talk a little bit too, just about some of the caffeine levels in some of these popular energy drinks now, just so you can compare.
Oh boy!
Because again, there's kids, that we have in the
just because
morning
it tastes good, like they think
it's pounding 2 or 3 the day, and they're not realizing how much caffeine they're adding to their system.
Right.
So we mentioned Prime Energy before, 200 milligrams in one 12-ounce bottle of Prime Energy.
Sure.
So technically 2 a day should be
maxed
your limit.
out, right?
But I mean, you have one in the morning, you have one at lunch, you have one in the evening, like that. You've already maxed out past the limit at that point. Monster Energy you mentioned, so the 16-ounce can is 160 milligrams.
Oh, I had the
not as bad.
But I remember even the feelings that make me jittery. And,
that's also
it's a different.
So we're talking just
they give me headaches and stuff. Yeah.
With this data.
Yep.
There's a lot of sugar in a lot of these drinks as well.
Sure.
And then even some of the so like for example, Celsius is touted as a low sugar option, but there are artificial sweeteners, which that's a whole nother ball of wax. It's talking about that impact on our bodies.
Right. I know my wife. Certain ones just mess with her stomach, and there are some decent ones, right? Like some I've heard of is it stevia is a good one, but not they had the diners, like the pink packets, the sweet and lows or whatever they're called, aspartame.
So, and you have to be careful about some of in some of the sugar-free or lower sugar or artificial sweetened products that are made. There are other ingredients that are added that aren't necessarily an artificial sugar that can also have some interesting impacts on our bodies. So again, it's just we don't know a lot about this yet because it hasn't been around long enough.
Right. Just drink water is basically the moral of this podcast.
Water and natural.
Honestly, water is it can energize you. It really can.
Well, when I'm exercising and every workout, I'm always making sure to have some water. And when I start to fade, I'm on a long run, I drink and I hydrate, and I feel instantly better on my run. I'm not going to be slugging a coffee on the run.
No.
Is that
crack a monster?
Is that a myth? Is this a myth that it is kind of like a diuretic, it dehydrates you?
I don't think that's a myth. I don't have any direct evidence that I can pull from to tell you. No,
people always talk about it.
I believe that it is.
Right.
Because I'm
the
a little bit
science behind it. I'm not familiar with.
Yeah.
But I have also heard that. So.
Yeah.
And so we've got Rockstar Energy 16 ounces, 160, and then Celsius a 12 ounce is 200. So Celsius is quite up there.
Okay, yeah. 200.
But I don't want to hijack the conversation too much with science. How about we shift to Mr. Sawicki with the
we can kind of end with it today. I'll tell you the little tale, the legend of Kaldi.
Kaldi?
I had to research this a little bit. I've never, Kaldi.
Kaldi.
Goes way back to the 9th century. He's an Ethiopian goat herder.
Oh.
So you probably think, why in the world is this guy inventing coffee? Obviously, we can't prove without my time machine yet. But the legend goes that as he's herding goats, he noticed on the long march from wherever he's going with the goats that occasionally the goats would stop and eat certain berries and things from plants, and they would seem to have this natural boost of energy. So maybe being a bit of a scientist himself, or a daredevil, just going up and randomly eating berries, which I don't recommend because some berries are toxic.
No, yeah.
He then noticed the same energy boost himself.
Okay.
So he starts brewing this. He gave it to local monks, who on their 24-hour prayer journeys said, hey, we need a little extra kick.
Yeah.
And then they would start to brew it and notice that energy boost. Eventually gets traded amongst the Middle East, makes its way to Europe. Believe it or not, in Europe, because there was more like religious strictness, it was actually toted. I love this quote right here. You pull it up officially. Because of the bitter taste of coffee, they actually said that coffee was evil and it was related to the devil. It was actually the bitter invention of Satan.
Oh.
Wow.
Pretty powerful.
That's some
man.
strong
It's
words.
just calling it out right there. But then Pope Clement VIII got a taste of coffee, loved it, and said, hey, guess what? This is amazing. And then it became kind of a universally accepted thing.
Well,
So we can thank a goat herder, and then trade, and then Venetians, Pope Clement, makes its way to America. Now we have coffee.
Thank you.
How's that
all of
for
those
coffee?
individuals.
Yes. Like
Coffee
all
history
these
in 1
articles
minute.
say, like
I love it.
like the history of coffee is extremely dense.
It is.
and multifaceted because then
Oh,
it goes
I'm
into
sure.
trade.
Oh, yeah.
then
Then
Trade's
into
a
the new
huge
world.
thing, right?
Exactly.
And
But
so much culture is
oh,
built up
absolutely.
because
Every
of it.
culture has
Oh my
different
gosh.
different brews and traditions and cultivations
That's
of it.
just an episode all on its own.
Key part of their economic structures, right? So, yeah. So that was the nice little
herder.
nutshell. Goat herder,
would've
yes.
thunk?
I know. Just watch my goat eating over there.
Huh.
Wait, the goats are crazy now.
Well, yeah,
so.
and it's so funny. Yeah, you got like the religious, like how like powerful, like the
Yeah.
religion was like, no, that's not good.
Especially
It's-
tying back to, like I said, like science was sometimes viewed as magic.
True.
So if your followers are drinking something that's making them a different person, naturally you're going to take note and like, is this a demonic thing? Is this
What's causing this?
Exactly.
I didn't know it was
Sure.
all about, chemicals. And
yeah,
yeah,
So-
pretty
and
science.
a lot. Yeah, and there was some religions too, like don't even allow. I think I'm not even current day, like Mormonism.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
To avoid
Caffeine-free.
coffee,
Yeah.
Seventh Day Adventist,
Yep.
Jainism. Some I don't have. This one was neat. A neat one I never heard of, but you know what it is, like Rastafarians
Oh.
choose to
Yeah.
avoid caffeine, particularly from coffee, due to its association with Babylon, the materialistic world.
Oh.
And it's believed to hinder spiritual clarity.
Okay.
Okay.
Look at this.
Good.
So, and then there was one I had with just so in the highest, like, so the people that consume coffee the most.
Americans.
Where in the world do you think?
No, I'm going to say the French.
Yeah, it's
French?
definitely
Somewhere in Europe.
Somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Asia?
Nope.
South America.
Nordic countries.
Nordic countries. So
Well,
it's Europe?
Yes.
It's dark and cold.
Well,
there,
yeah,
so
yeah,
can't
yeah, a
really-
little up in
yeah.
that vicinity. Yeah.
Dark and cold.
Yeah, they need
But
I don't
yeah.
blame them.
So this was the one where it's like the conversion, like it was 12 kilograms a person, which I think I don't know
Your
how many
average
cups.
human, maybe?
Yeah.
Pounds, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a lot,
This is
Math-
America.
Okay,
We
math
say
expert.
pounds. Yes, math person?
And
We'll have them
in,
call it in.
in the U.S. it's 3.1 cups daily.
Yep. Okay. That
So
tracks.
you're
Come on, America.
a little,
Gotta bump them numbers up, man.
little above, right?
Yeah.
And
I feel very judged right now. As I finish my fourth
hey,
cup.
Did you
Here we
see
go.
the size? of
Yeah, no,
my
how many
coffee
ounces is that thing? Yeah,
container?
this is
I don't
maybe
even
like
know. It's a
16
lot.
ounces, my
and I
Spider-Man
had
book.
and I had in the end with just some celebrities associated with coffee, energy drinks. So
The Folgers guy.
George Clooney,
Yeah.
he
yeah.
endorsed Nespresso.
Yeah.
Beyonce, sorry. Well, and before her, Michael Jackson,
Okay.
I believe.
Pepsi?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
okay.
remember.
Big, promo. LeBron James.
Okay.
the Sprite dealer.
Sprite,
Yep.
caffeinated, yeah. I didn't know Sprite was
Sprite
a
has no
caffeinated
caffeine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And I
says-
know that because
yeah.
a friend of mine who is Mormon can only drink
Oh,
Sprite.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just pay LeBron billions.
Ronaldo, various energy drinks. Taylor Swift, Diet
Okay.
Coke,
Okay.
and David Beckham for Pepsi.
Right.
So
Well, if they paid me millions too, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll drink this. Like,
Yeah. Or maybe Death Wish. Hey.
Death Wish?
we'll be
Yeah,
in your
please.
commercials.
We got to like tag them somehow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's predominant. People, like I said, it's almost kind of like in that Dunkin' versus Starbucks. I mean, people that love like Death Wish.
Oh, that's all they'll drink.
I'm like, dude, you haven't tried.
If I can afford it.
Yeah.
If I can afford
Well,
it.
yeah, I mean, an average bag, like
20-something bucks. For
12 ounces, and that's the thing. Sometimes you look at bags of coffee. Some are 12, some are 16.
Yeah.
They'll mess with
Death Wish
sizes.
is 16.
Sure.
And it's $20, $20 to $24. And then Starbucks, some bags, like a standard 12-ounce bag, 10, 14. But
Can't trust them that bad.
price.
Mr. Blaze, we need them as a sponsor.
But like just to give,
But it's worth it because of the amount of caffeine you're
More bang for your
provided.
buck.
Right.
Yes, you don't have to use as much.
feel a little jitter. Feel like I need a little bit more.
Yes. Well, that was the last drop.
That thing we have to do
I know.
called teaching.
I know.
Bell's
Back
coming up. But hey, I'm caffeinated, so I'm ready to
am
go,
too.
folks.
And
But yeah, definitely comment. Maybe we'll have we have a poll out there that you can check out that poll.
Yeah.
And
you have to choose a good question.
enjoy your coffee.
Drink
Yes.
coffee, everybody.
See you guys next time.
See ya.
Later.
Later.